Hello, friend. If tonight feels a little heavy on your shoulders, set it down here. Let your hands unclench, your jaw soften, and your breath become a slow tide out to sea, back to shore. Somewhere above the rooftops and the quiet trees, the sky is already dimming to a deep velvet blue. Stars are stepping out, one by one, like small lamps in a long hallway. And you, warm, safe, unhurried, are invited to drift with me. Tonight we won't sprint through space. We will float. We will meander in easy spirals, as if gravity kindly loosened its grip and said, "Take your time. This is not a lesson so much as a lullaby. Not a parade of numbers, but a collection of murmured wonders. Winds that run faster than sound. Rings that snow down into the planet they encircle. Oceans tucked beneath shells of ice. And a sun that sings in ripples too low for ears to hear. We'll touch each of these, as a fingertip touches the edge of a page, gentle, curious, and calm. For now, let the room become a small planet of its own. The blanket is your temperate atmosphere. The pillow is soft terrain. The distant hum of life outside your window is the cosmic background, a music so faint it might be silence. If your thoughts are still busy, you don't need to push them away. Picture them as little comets sailing past. Watch them glow, then trail off behind you. We are steering toward rest, and space is very good at silence. We'll begin near the brightest lantern we know, not to be dazzled or hurried, but to remember the source of warmth that makes almost everything else possible. Imagine the sun as a hearth at the center of a long, dark lodge. Its light arrives here after a brief journey across the black, about the time it takes to brew a cup of tea and let it cool. That light has been traveling, unwavering and patient, like a messenger with an old story. When it brushes the side of your face, it is telling you, you are part of a neighborhood. You are not alone in the dark. From there, our path will curve outward. In soft arcs, we'll pass Mercury, a metal-hearted ember with ghost-thin air that barely clings to its skin. We'll pause at Venus, a world whose days stretch so long they outlast its years, turning backward in a slow, shimmering dance. We'll bow to Earth, the familiar oasis with moving crust and a magnetic shield, a place where water knows every costume: ice, cloud, ocean, and rain. And we'll glance at the moon, steadfast and near, tugging at the world's oceans like a quiet friend who knows just how to get you up to dance. But not yet. There's no hurry in this story. Before we set off, feel how your breath and the darkness are beginning to agree with each other. Inhale, a dim star brightening. Exhale, a small night breeze passing through pines. Your heartbeat might be a tiny satellite, untroubled, tracing its patient orbit. You can let your eyes close if you like. The universe does not require sight to be felt. Tonight, we'll keep company with gentle oddities. We'll visit Mars, where the tallest volcano in the neighborhood rises so quietly that even mountains on Earth would feel small beside it. We'll lean over the rim of a canyon, wide enough to cradle a continent, and we'll watch the world's red dust lift into storms that can wrap the planet like a scarf. We'll wander through the space between worlds, a place you might expect to be crowded with debris, but is mostly serene and spacious, like a gallery that displays only a few carefully chosen sculptures under pools of light. Further on, we'll greet Jupiter, a softly rumbling giant with a storm older than modern memory, and with a magnetic cloak so broad that if it were visible, it would paint half the sky. Around that planet, moons circle like lanterns on a slow carousel, one that spits fountains of volcanic fire into the cold, one that hides a dark ocean under ice, marked with cracks like lines on a palm, one so big it is nearly a planet in spirit, and one ancient and cratered, quiet as an old photograph. Past that, Saturn will appear less a planet than a whispered spell, its rings thin as paper, bright as breath on glass, snowing inward grain by grain, century by century. As our spirals widen, we'll arrive where the light grows thin and colors turn to dusk. Uranus, tipped so far, It rolls along like a sleeping figure, seasons stretching into decades of day or night. Neptune, blue and windswept, where gusts outrun sound and storms knit and unknit themselves like wool in a grandmother's lap. A small, captured moon there will drift backward around its planet, reminding us that not every dance turns the same direction. And at the rim of the well-lit room, small worlds will be waiting round, reflective, reserved tidy relics of an early, chaotic time, gleaming frost at the far edge of the hearth's reach. Even farther, in a hush beyond the familiar, a great sphere of icy seeds may be sleeping a pantry of comets that sometimes send one of their own inward. Those visitors grow bright tails that always point away from the sun, like a compass needle that chooses not north or south but out, always out. Some of them carry stories as old as everything else, dust from times before Earth had oceans or trees. When they pass, they remind us that the past is not gone so much as it is circling very slowly, very far. But again, no rush. In a few moments, we'll begin the actual path, and we'll give each place the time it deserves. This is a journey made of small steps and long pauses. If at any point your body decides to fold itself into sleep, that's perfect. Space is good at keeping a secret, and the tour will wait. You might wake later with a trace of rings in your dreams, or a soft sense of having drifted across an ocean with no wind and no shore, only the sure feeling that the water carried you kindly. Before we go, let me offer a small ritual. Place your attention at the base of your nose. Feel the incoming air cool, like starlight, and the outgoing air warm like candlelight. Count, if you want to, not numbers but orbits. One breath, Mercury close. The next, Venus slow. The next, Earth familiar. The next, moonlit. Let the rhythm gather you in. We're almost ready. If these quiet explorations ever help you end your day gently, if they swap the chatter of the mind for the hush of the night, then I'm grateful you're here. When you have the energy on some morning that comes later, you might tap the little bell that keeps us connected, so you can find your way back when you're ready for another slow voyage. For now, though, there's nothing to do but be carried. Look up, or inside, it's all the same when the room is dim. The first stop is only a breath away. We'll begin with the hearth and its patient light, a star that hums, that flips its poles in a long, calm cycle, that sends warmth to a small world where a blanket waits and a listener grows drowsy. And then, we'll follow that light outward planet by planet, moon by moon, tracing the quiet architecture of our little neighborhood in the dark. Ready? Breathe in, breathe out. Let's begin. The Sunday, our quiet star, sitting at the center of everything we know, a lantern that has burned for more than 4.5 billion years. Tonight, let's sit by its glow, not hurried, not dazzled, but simply warmed, like travelers resting near a hearth before setting out into the night. Every second, the sun transforms over 4 million tons of its own body into light and heat. It sounds like a violent act, but here, in the stillness, it feels more like breathing. A deep, steady inhale of hydrogen, a slow exhale of helium. With each pulse, it radiates warmth across the void, feeding winds on Mars, glints on Saturn's rings, and tides on Earth. Imagine that your heartbeat right now is being kept alive by a star gently giving itself away. That energy takes time to reach us. At its core, the sun's light begins as tiny photons packed tightly among atoms of plasma. They bounce, scatter, wander, for hundreds of thousands of years, so long that entire mountain ranges may rise and crumble on Earth before a single photon escapes. But when it finally breaks free of the surface, the last part of the journey is quick. Just over 8 minutes across the empty dark, to your window, to your skin, to your breath. When you feel sunlight, you are touching something that was born in a place hotter than 15 million degrees, but has cooled and softened into something safe enough to warm your hands. And the sun is not silent. Though we cannot hear it, it vibrates with pressure waves ringing like a vast, slow drum. Scientists listen through heliosysmology, tracing those ripples the way doctors listen for echoes in the chest. These deep sounds tell us of hidden flows and magnetic rivers inside, of currents rising and falling like tides beneath fire. If you could hear it, it would be a song too low and too slow for human ears, a lullaby of plasma humming across space. The sun also has a rhythm, a magnetic heartbeat that flips itself every 11 years. North becomes south, south becomes north, and the cycle begins again. With each flip, the surface freckles with sunspots, the air above shivers with flares, and auroras dance more brightly on Earth. It is as though the star is inhaling, exhaling, then turning over in its sleep. And yet, for all this restlessness, the sun is a constant. Its light holds the solar system in place, its gravity binding planets, comets, and dust into a single, slow waltz. It is a center not only of mass, but of calm. Without it, there would be no water flowing here, no green leaves lifting their faces, no oceans breathing clouds. Without it, there would be no blanket wrapped around you tonight. So before we drift farther outward, pause here. Let your breath match the star's imagined pulse. 4 million tons released, a warm glow traveling across the dark, arriving gently after 8 minutes of silence. Inhale, exhale, the same rhythm, shared across 93 million miles. From this steady hearth, we'll take our first step into the smaller worlds, beginning with the closest one, Mercury, the swift little ember that circles nearest to the flame. Closer to the sun than any other planet, Mercury is a small, quiet ember, hurrying in its orbit like a moth circling a lantern. From Earth, it often hides in the sun's glare, showing itself only in the delicate hours of dawn and dusk. Yet behind its shyness, Mercury holds secrets that whisper of fire, metal, and shadow. Beneath its thin crust lies a heart of iron so large it makes up about 80% of the planet's radius. Imagine holding a pebble in your hand and realizing most of its weight comes from a heavy core hidden within. Scientists believe Mercury's mantle was stripped away long ago, perhaps by a colossal impact, leaving behind a planet that is mostly metal, wrapped in only a thin layer of rock. Because of this oversized core, Mercury carries a faint magnetic field, a ghost of protection, much weaker than Earth's, but enough to remind us that even small worlds have their own invisible shields. But Mercury cannot hold on to an atmosphere the way Earth does. Its gravity is too gentle, its surface too exposed to the sun's breath. Instead, it wears something more delicate, an exosphere. Picture a veil so thin it is almost not there, made of atoms knocked loose by solar wind and tiny meteoroid strikes. Sodium, potassium, oxygen, all drifting briefly above the surface before leaking away into space. It is not an atmosphere you could feel or breathe. It is more like a shimmering aura, invisible to our eyes, but detectable with the right instruments. A ghostly shell that flickers in and out of existence, as if Mercury were forever exhaling faint wisps of itself. And yet, in the strangest of contrasts, Mercury also harbors ice. At its poles, deep inside craters that sunlight never reaches, lie pockets of frozen water. While the rest of the planet burns by day hot enough to melt, these shadows remain untouched, colder than the deepest winters on Earth. Like secret freezers, they preserve bright patches of ice delivered long ago, perhaps by comets or ancient volcanic flows. In the hottest, harshest neighborhood of the solar system, Mercury keeps quiet caches of water hidden in permanent night. There is one more secret Mercury helped reveal, not about itself, but about the nature of space. For centuries, astronomers noticed that Mercury's orbit behaved oddly. Its path shifted slightly, faster than Newton's laws could explain. This tiny irregularity puzzled scientists until Albert Einstein came along. In 1915, his theory of general relativity explained it perfectly. The sun's immense gravity bends the fabric of space itself, tugging Mercury's orbit forward. In this way, a small, fast world became proof of one of the greatest ideas in physics. Mercury showed us that space is not empty, but elastic, that gravity is not just a pull but a shaping of the stage on which planets move. When you think of Mercury now, you might not see only a dry, lifeless rock. Instead, picture a world with a giant metallic heart, a ghostly veil for air, hidden wells of ice in shadows, and an orbit that whispers the truth about gravity itself. A tiny planet, rushing swiftly around the sun every 88 days, carrying within it the evidence that the universe is stranger and more elegant than we once believed. As we drift onward, we leave Mercury's quick circle and step gently toward a brighter, slower world, a planet wrapped in clouds and mystery, spinning backward in a timeless golden haze. Venus waits. Venus, so bright in the twilight sky that ancient stargazers called it both the morning star and the evening star. From afar, it shines like a jewel, soft, golden, serene. But up close, Venus is no gentle sister to Earth. It is a furnace, wrapped in clouds, turning in reverse, and keeping time in a rhythm all its own. Venus is nearly the same size and mass as Earth. In another version of history, it might have been our twin blue oceans, green valleys, maybe even life. But something shifted. Its thick atmosphere became a trap, holding heat in rather than letting it go. Today, the surface of Venus is hotter than that of Mercury, even though it stands farther from the Sunday. Temperatures soar high enough to melt lead, and the air is so dense it would crush you like deep-sea pressure. Standing there would be like living inside a slow, glowing kiln. The clouds above are not the fluffy companions we know on Earth. They are veils of sulfuric acid, yellow-white layers that reflect sunlight so brilliantly they make the planet blaze in our skies. From the surface, if you could stand there, the sun would never shine directly. Instead, a dim orange haze would hang overhead, eternal and heavy. And then there is time itself. A single day on Venus lasts longer than its year. It takes 243 Earth days for Venus to spin once on its axis, but only 225 to circle the Sunday. Imagine a world where the day stretches beyond the calendar year, where the rhythm of sunrise and sunset is slower than the passage of seasons. Even stranger, the planet spins backward. On Venus, the sun rises in the west and sets in the east. It is as if the entire world chose to turn against the current, drifting to its own private beat. Scientists think this strange rotation may be the result of a colossal impact long ago, or perhaps a slow tidal tug from the sun that gradually flipped it over. Whatever the cause, Venus became a world that defies expectations, a neighbor so familiar in size, yet so alien in every other way. There is another mystery here. Venus has no global magnetic field. Earth's molten core stirs like a restless cauldron, creating a protective shield around us, bending solar winds away and guarding our atmosphere. But Venus's heart is sluggish, or perhaps solidified. Without that shield, solar winds gnaw at its upper air, stripping lighter elements away. Over eons, what might once have been oceans could have vanished, boiled and stolen by the sun's breath, leaving only a dense, suffocating cloak of carbon dioxide behind. And yet, even in this harshness, Venus glows with beauty. Seen through a telescope, its phases mimic the moon's slender crescents and full disks of light. It gleams in twilight like a beacon, a lantern for poets and dreamers. From Earth we see its brilliance and forget the furnace within, the crushing air, the endless day that rolls backward. Venus reminds us that appearances in the sky can be gentle, even while the truth is fierce. So when you glimpse the evening star, let it not only be a point of light, but a story, a world that could have been like ours, that still shares our size and our closeness, but chose another path. A reminder that even among neighbors, destinies can diverge. And now, leaving the golden haze behind, we turn to the oasis we know most intimately. The one world where oceans breathe, seasons turn, and life itself has risen from stone and air. Earth waits, glowing blue and white against the darkness. Earth, our home, our cradle, our only known sanctuary. From space it glows like a fragile ornament. Blue oceans swirling with white clouds, brown and green lands drifting beneath. Against the dark of the cosmos, Earth shines with life, a rare and restless beauty. Tonight, let us linger here for a while, not to rush through what is familiar, but to remember how extraordinary the ordinary truly island. One of Earth's quiet miracles is its shifting skin. Unlike any other planet we know, Earth's outer shell is not fixed. It is broken into plates, vast, floating slabs that drift across the mantle, colliding, pulling apart, sliding past each other. These slow movements raise mountains, carve trenches, and cause the trembling of earthquakes. More than geology, they are guardians of climate. By recycling carbon into the mantle and back again, plate tectonics regulate Earth's temperature over deep time. Without them, oceans might dry or freeze, or never have formed at all. The ground beneath you is alive in its own way, moving softly, invisibly, but always shaping the future. Water is Earth's most patient artist. Here it flows in every form, solid, liquid, and gas dancing through endless cycles. Ice crowns the poles, liquid seas cradle continents, and clouds drift through skies like white lanterns. It evaporates, condenses, falls, and flows again, sculpting valleys, nourishing roots, and filling the air you breathe. No other world shows water so freely shifting costumes, balancing warmth and cold, weaving the story of life. Each drop you sip may once have been a glacier, a wave, or a breath from a forest. On Earth, water remembers. Earth is also heavy, denser than any other planet in the solar system. Its iron core, wrapped in silicate mantle and crust, makes it compact, solid, and layered. That density powers another gift, the magnetic field. Deep within, molten iron flows and spins, creating a vast invisible shield. Like a silent umbrella, it bends charged particles away, shielding the surface from solar storms. Without it, Earth might be bare like Mars, its air stripped and its seas gone. Instead, auroras shimmer at the poles, the gentle signature of a defense that has worked for billions of years. And seasons our planet tilts just enough, about 23.5 degrees, to let sunlight wander from hemisphere to hemisphere. That lean gives us rhythm. Blossoms of spring, golden summers, crimson autumns, silver winters. Imagine if Earth had no tilt always the same, no cycle, no variety. Life would be uniform, unchanging. But here, the world leans and breathes, and every year is written in chapters of light and dark. Even tonight, wherever you are, Earth is busy with this dance. Somewhere, a mountain is being lifted a fraction of an inch. Somewhere, glaciers are melting into rivers that will become clouds again. Somewhere, the magnetosphere is catching a storm from the sun, bending it into curtains of green light. Somewhere, a seed is splitting in soil, reaching toward the sky, and beneath it all, water flows in endless circles, soft as lullabies, ancient as stars. As we look back from space, Earth is not just a planet, it is a heartbeat, a place where rock shifts, oceans whisper, and invisible shields hold the sky in place. It is a miracle dressed as the ordinary ground beneath your feet. And just beyond Earth, drifting silently around it, a companion waits, a pale grey lantern that has circled us for 4.5 billion years. The moon, keeper of tides, holder of secrets, and storyteller of shadows. The moon, our quiet companion, circling Earth in patient rhythm, always showing us the same face. It has no light of its own, yet glows with borrowed sunlight, a silver lantern hung in the dark. For as long as people have looked up at the sky, the moon has been a clock, a calendar, a canvas for stories. Tonight, let us rest in its soft light and remember what it truly is, a partner carved from the same cosmic dust as us. Compared to Earth, Our moon is enormous. 1/4 the size of its host planet, it is unusually large for a satellite. No other rocky planet in the solar system has such a grand companion. Most scientists believe it was born from violence, a Mars-sized body striking the young Earth, hurling molten debris into orbit. That debris circled, cooled, and gathered into a single glowing sphere. From a collision came companionship, and for billions of years, the two have been bound together, shaping each other's fate. The moon's pull is constant. Its gravity tugs at Earth's oceans, drawing them into bulges that roll across the planet as tides. Twice a day, the sea breathes in and out, in time with the moon's orbit. This pull also slows Earth's rotation, lengthening our days little by little. Long ago, a day lasted only a few hours. Now it stretches to 24. The moon, quietly and patiently, has been changing time itself. But the moon, too, is drifting. Each year, it slips a little farther away from us, about 3.8 centimeters, the width of a fingernail. In the distant future, total solar eclipses will no longer happen. The moon will seem too small to cover the sun completely, and the sky will change in ways our descendants may only read about. Even separation, however, is part of its slow, gentle rhythm. Though it appears still, the moon sometimes trembles. Moonquakes ripple through its body, triggered by the Earth's gravity or by the heating and cooling of its surface. Some last for nearly an hour, far longer than earthquakes on Earth. Imagine the silent rock beneath your feet, humming softly, almost imperceptibly, under the pull of its parent world. And the surface it hardly changes. With no wind, no rain, no moving seas, the moon preserves its scars for billions of years. Craters from ancient impacts still lie open like old wounds. Even the footprints left by astronauts remain, likely for thousands or millions of years, untouched by weather. To walk there is to step into a frozen history, every mark etched into silence. Yet for all its barrenness, the moon has been a companion in every human story. It has guided sailors across oceans, inspired poets to write of longing and love, marked the passing of months for farmers and kings. Its phases still tug at us in ways we cannot explain, bright crescents lifting us, dark new moons reminding us to rest. The moon is more than a satellite. It is Earth's memory, a witness to its past, a steady hand on its tides, a silent presence above every generation that has ever lived here. As you close your eyes tonight, remember that same moon is watching, its light falling softly on oceans, deserts, forests, and cities, uniting every dreamer under one silver gaze. And now we drift farther outward, leaving our companion behind. Ahead lies a red world, dusty and cold, with mountains taller than any on Earth and canyons wide enough to swallow a continent. Mars is waiting, rusty and restless, to share its stories. Mars, the red wanderer, glowing softly in our night sky, has long been a mirror for human imagination. From ancient myths of fiery gods to modern dreams of colonization, Mars has always seemed both close and distant, familiar yet alien. Tonight, let us drift down through its thin, pinkish air and explore its vast, silent landscapes, as if we were travelers stepping onto a planet caught between desert and dream. The surface of Mars is a world of extremes. Imagine standing before Olympus Mons, the tallest volcano in the solar system. It rises nearly 22 kilometers high, almost 3 times taller than Mount Everest, and spreads wide enough to cover an entire country. It did not form in a rush, but in patience. For millions of years, molten rock erupted again and again in the same place, because unlike Earth, Mars has no plate tectonics to move its crust. Here the land is still, and so the mountain grew higher and higher, until it became a silent giant, towering above the Martian plains. Stretching across the equator lies another wonder, Valles Marineris, a canyon so vast it defies comparison. Over 40 kilometers long, it would span the width of the United States. In places, it plunges 7 kilometers deep, more than 5 times deeper than the Grand Canyon. To look across it would be to see an entire horizon broken open. Scientists believe it formed not from rivers, as on Earth, but from the planet's crust, stretching and cracking apart, widened later by erosion. It is a scar on Mars's surface, ancient, colossal, and hauntingly beautiful. But Mars is not a frozen museum. It is alive in its own subtle ways. The planet is famous for its dust-fine, iron-rich particles that paint the world in rusty red. Winds lift this dust into the air, creating storms that can grow from small whirlwinds into tempests engulfing the entire planet. These dust storms may last for weeks or months, blotting out the sun and covering the landscape in a copper haze. In 2018, such a storm swept across Mars and silenced the Opportunity rover, ending its mission after nearly 15 years of exploration. Even without rain or oceans, Mars remains restless, reshaping itself in storms of powder and wind. Yet amid this barrenness, there are hints of water frozen at the poles, locked in underground ice, and perhaps, long ago, flowing across the surface. Ancient riverbeds still cut across the land, whispering of a time when Mars may have been wetter, warmer, more hospitable. It is this memory of water that keeps alive the possibility that life might once have existed here, or might still, hidden beneath the ice, waiting in the dark. Orbiting above this desert world are 2 tiny moons, Phobos and Deimos. Misshapen and cratered, they look more like captured asteroids than traditional satellites. Phobos, the larger of the 2, is slowly spiraling inward, inching closer to Mars every year. Someday, it may crash into the planet, or break apart into a ring of rubble. Deimos drifts farther away, its orbit widening slowly, like a shy companion withdrawing into the dark. These little moons are relics of chaos, passengers caught in the pull of a restless world. Mars is a planet of contradictions, silent and stormy, barren and promising, wounded, yet alive. To walk its surface would be to tread across the pages of deep time. Mountains that grew higher than any on Earth, canyons carved wider than imagination, dust that moves like breath across the plains. And above, 2 small moons, one falling, one fleeing, circling a red desert under a pale pink sky. As we drift outward, leaving behind the restless winds of Mars, we enter a region between worlds, a place we imagine as crowded with rocks, yet in truth is mostly quiet, spacious, and still. Here lies the asteroid belt, a gallery of fragments that never formed into a planet, orbiting like ancient relics in a vast museum of stone. Between Mars and Jupiter lies a realm that sounds crowded in stories, but feels empty in truth, the asteroid belt. In films, it is often painted as a minefield of boulders, rocks tumbling shoulder to shoulder, where a careless ship might be shattered. But in reality, the belt is mostly vastness. Millions of asteroids drift there, yes, but separated by enormous distances. A spacecraft could sail through without brushing against even one. It is less a storm of stones and more a sparse gallery, each piece on display in its own quiet corner. Still, what drifts here is remarkable. These asteroids are leftovers, fragments from the dawn of the solar system building blocks that never merged into a full planet. They are fossils of creation, silent witnesses of a time when dust swirled, collided, and grew into worlds. To wander among them is to step back into that early, chaotic age. Some are small, no bigger than pebbles. Others are giants in their own right. Vesta, the second largest body in the belt, is what we might call a protoplanet. It has layers like Earth, a dense core, a rocky mantle, and a crust scarred with ancient impacts. Long ago, it had enough heat to melt and separate, to begin the process of becoming a world, but it stopped short, left half-formed, preserved in time. Looking at Vesta is like seeing an unfinished sculpture, a glimpse of what could have been. Then there is Ceres, the largest resident of the asteroid belt, So big it is classified as both an asteroid and a dwarf planet. Round, steady, and surprisingly complex, Ceres hides secrets beneath its surface. When NASA's Dawn spacecraft visited, it discovered mysterious bright spots inside craters, patches of salt, left behind by briny water that seeped up from below. Some scientists believe Ceres may even hold a thin layer of liquid deep inside, a hidden ocean locked beneath ice and rock. If so, this quiet dwarf world, floating between giants, could be a cradle of chemistry, a keeper of ingredients for life. Not all asteroids are solid rock. Many are rubble piles, loose gatherings of stones, gravel, and dust, bound together only by gravity's gentle hand. They are fragile, porous, able to shift shape under pressure. To land on one would be to step onto something that might rearrange itself beneath you, as if the ground were a collection of pebbles agreeing, for the moment, to pretend they are one body. And asteroids, too, can have company. Some of them are orbited by tiny moons, smaller companions circling larger fragments. The first discovered was Dactyl, a little stone that orbits the asteroid Ida. Since then, astronomers have found dozens more such pairs, even strange binary systems where two asteroids orbit each other in a delicate dance. Even here, among scattered debris, gravity weaves bonds, linking wanderers into quiet partnerships. So the asteroid belt is not a battlefield. It is a library, a vast collection of fragments, some solid, some loose, some nearly worlds of their own. They are relics of beginnings, frozen in space, whispering of the time when dust turned to stone, and stone dreamed of becoming planets. From this museum of fragments, we drift outward toward the first of the true giants. Ahead, Jupiter swells into view, not just a planet, but an entire kingdom. Its storms roar, its magnetosphere stretches farther than we can imagine, and its many moons form a miniature solar system of their own. The great guardian of our neighborhood awaits. Jupiter, the first of the giants, a world so immense it could swallow all the other planets and still have room to spare. When seen through a telescope, its bands of cream and rust swirl endlessly, as though painted by a brush that never leaves the canvas. To drift near Jupiter is to feel the presence of something both powerful and strangely serene, a planet that has shaped the history of the solar system simply by existing. Jupiter is not a solid world. Beneath its cloud tops lies a deep ocean of gas and liquid, blending seamlessly under crushing pressure. Scientists believe that somewhere far below, hydrogen is squeezed into a metallic state, a sea of liquid metal where currents flow like rivers of fireless lightning. It is these motions that create Jupiter's vast magnetic field, the largest and strongest in the solar system. If it were visible, Jupiter's magnetosphere would stretch wider across the night sky than the Sun itself, dwarfing even the planet's own enormous body. This invisible shield is beautiful but dangerous. Inside it, radiation belts seethe with energy so intense they could destroy unprotected spacecraft in hours. Even Jupiter's moons are bathed in this invisible storm, their surfaces scarred and changed by exposure. It is a world wrapped in danger, yet wrapped also in light, its poles crowned with auroras larger than Earth, shimmering curtains of color that flicker in eternal silence. And then there is the Great Red Spot, Jupiter's most famous feature, a storm, larger than Earth itself, swirling for centuries. First observed more than 350 years ago, it has raged without pause, shrinking and shifting, but never vanishing. Winds here circle at more than 400 kilometers per hour, yet from afar it looks almost peaceful, a rust-red oval turning quietly among the clouds. To imagine standing beneath it is to picture an endless cyclone that never rests, a storm older than entire civilizations. Jupiter glows in more ways than one. Unlike most planets, it emits more heat than it receives from the Sunday. Leftover energy from its birth, still slowly leaking outward, warms the planet's atmosphere from within. This internal fire drives its belts and bands, its storms and tempests. In the infrared, Jupiter shines like a coal still smouldering in the darkness, a failed star that came close, but not close enough to ignition. Had it been only a little more massive, it might have lit itself, becoming a second sun for the solar system. But perhaps Jupiter's greatest beauty is not the planet itself, but its companions. With more than 90 moons discovered so far, it is surrounded by a retinue of worlds, some tiny as pebbles, others larger than Mercury. Together, they form a miniature solar system, a cosmic family bound to the giant's gravity. 4 of them, the Galilean moons, are so striking that Galileo, when he first saw them through a telescope in 1610, realized something profound. Not everything revolves around Earth. The universe was larger, and Jupiter's moons proved it. From its storms to its auroras, from its vast magnetosphere to its countless companions, Jupiter is not just a planet. It is a kingdom, a realm of power and scale beyond measure. To drift near it is to feel both small and secure, as though standing beside a colossus who watches over the fragile worlds within. And now, we leave the giant itself to spend time with its most famous companions, the Galilean moons. Each one is a world in its own right, full of fire, ice, and oceans hidden in the dark. Together, they tell a story as rich as the planets themselves. The moons of Jupiter are not mere companions. They are worlds, each one, with its own face, its own story, its own silence. When Galileo first saw them through his small telescope in 1610, he could not have known that he was glimpsing some of the most extraordinary places in the solar system. Tonight, let us drift closer, one by one, and listen to what they whisper. First comes Io, the restless one. At first glance, it looks like a painted mask, yellow and orange, scarred with blackened pits. But these colors are not decoration, they are sulfur, born from a world that cannot keep still. Io is the most volcanic body we know. Its surface is reshaped constantly by eruptions, fountains of molten rock and sulfur leaping hundreds of kilometers into space. What drives this fury is not the sun, but gravity. Io is caught in a tug-of-war between Jupiter's massive pull and the nudges of its sibling moons. Stretched and squeezed like clay, its interior heats up, boiling until the ground itself cracks open. To walk here would be to step onto a land, forever breaking, glowing, reforming, an endless heartbeat of fire. Next is Europa, the quiet dreamer. From above it gleams pale, its icy shell crisscrossed with dark lines, like veins across a pearl. Beneath that ice lies what many believe is a vast global ocean, more water than all the oceans of Earth combined. Jupiter's gravity kneads Europa's interior, creating warmth that keeps this sea from freezing solid. Imagine that, a hidden ocean, dark and sealed away, but stirred by tides from below. Some of its surface cracks may be windows into this sea, places where the ice has split and refrozen. If life exists beyond Earth, Europa is one of the likeliest harbors a world of salt water, chemistry, and gentle heat, waiting under a frozen shell. Then comes Ganymede, the giant among moons. Larger even than Mercury, it has its own magnetic field, the only moon known to do so. Its surface is a patchwork. Bright streaks where the crust has stretched, dark plains scarred with ancient impacts. Scientists believe Ganymede may also hold layers of hidden oceans, sandwiched between sheets of ice, stacked one upon another, like pages in a secret book. Around it, shimmering auroras dance in its thin atmosphere, the visible glow of its magnetic heart. Ganymede is less a moon than a planet in all but name, a sovereign world orbiting within Jupiter's domain. Finally, Callisto, the Elder. Pocked with more craters than almost any place in the solar system, its surface is an ancient record untouched by time. Unlike its siblings, Callisto shows little sign of inner activity. Yet even here, scientists suspect a buried ocean may slumber beneath the ice, preserved in silence. To look at Callisto is to gaze into deep time, a world that has kept its scars for billions of years, like an old, wise traveler who carries the stories of every strike and storm. Together, these 4 moons are like a family of lanterns orbiting a colossus. Io with its fire, Europa with its hidden sea, Ganymede with its magnetic glow, Callisto with its ancient memory. They are not background characters, but central players, each one as fascinating as the planets themselves. As we drift away from Jupiter's glowing kingdom, we carry with us their quiet songs: fire, ice, magnetism, memory. And ahead, shimmering like a halo in the distance, is another wonder. Saturn, wrapped in rings so thin they seem carved from glass, waits to greet us with beauty that feels both eternal and fleeting. Saturn, even from afar, it feels like a dream. The planet itself is pale gold, muted and calm. But what makes it unforgettable are its rings, vast, glittering bands encircling the world, like the grooves of a celestial record. No other planet in the solar system wears such an elaborate crown. To drift near Saturn is to feel as though you are entering a place where gravity has learned to draw poetry. The rings are not solid. They are made of countless fragments, ice and rock, ranging from dust grains to boulders the size of houses. Together, they stretch more than 280 kilometers across. Yet in most places, they are astonishingly thin, less than 100 meters thick. Imagine a sheet of glass spread wider than the distance between Earth and the Moon, but thinner than a city block. When sunlight passes through the rings, they shimmer like gossamer, sometimes nearly disappearing from view. From a distance, they look eternal, but in truth, they are fragile and temporary. Streams of icy particles are slowly drifting inward, drawn down by Saturn's gravity and magnetic field. This gentle fall is called ring rain. Over millions of years, the rings will fade, dissolving into the planet they once adorned. Observations from the Cassini spacecraft suggest that Saturn's rings are relatively young, perhaps only 100 million years old. They are not ancient relics, but fleeting adornments, a necklace of ice that the planet will one day lose. And yet, while they last, they are shaped with grace. Tiny moons, called shepherds, weave paths through them, pulling particles into narrow bands, sculpting gaps and ripples. Waves ripple outward like circles on water, frozen in ice. Even here, amid countless shards, order arises. Gravity is an artist, patient and precise. Beyond the rings, Saturn itself is a gentle giant. Its density is so low that if you could place it in a bathtub big enough, it would float. This is because Saturn is mostly hydrogen and helium, light gases puffed into a massive globe by gravity's embrace. Its winds whip at hundreds of kilometers per hour, yet its muted yellow bands make it appear calm, almost serene. At its north pole spins something even stranger, a vast storm shaped into a nearly perfect hexagon, a six-sided jet stream larger than Earth. It has lasted for decades, maybe centuries, a reminder that even chaos can settle into geometry. Saturn, like Jupiter, is orbited by many moons. Over 80 have been found so far. Some are small, little more than icy rocks, but others are vast and fascinating. They are worlds in their own right, each carrying secrets of oceans, geysers, and alien weather. To speak of Saturn is not just to describe a planet, but an entire system, a family of wonders gathered around one pale golden parent. We'll linger with 2 of those moons. Next, one that sprays water into space from hidden oceans, and one with lakes and rivers made not of water, but of liquid methane. They are worlds that echo Earth in the strangest of ways, reminding us that even in the cold outer reaches, nature can still find ways to flow. Among Saturn's many moons, 2 stand apart like keepers of secrets, Enceladus and Titan. One is small and icy, constantly whispering plumes of water into space. The other is vast and hazy, with rivers and lakes sculpted not from water, but from liquid methane. Together, they show us that even in the cold reaches of the outer solar system, worlds can be alive with movement, mystery, and possibility. First, let us drift toward Enceladus. Barely 500 kilometers across, it could fit comfortably inside the state of Arizona, and yet it holds an ocean beneath its frozen shell. At its south pole, the surface is fractured into dark stripes nicknamed tiger stripes. From these cracks, towering geysers erupt plumes of water vapor and ice crystals shooting hundreds of kilometers into space. Cassini, the spacecraft that once orbited Saturn, flew through these plumes and discovered salt, organic compounds, even hints of hydrothermal activity. Beneath that icy shell lies a warm sea, stirred by tidal forces from Saturn's pull, and perhaps dotted with vents like those found deep in Earth's ocean's vents that on our planet teem with life. To imagine life in Enceladus's hidden sea is to picture tiny organisms drifting in the dark, warmed by chemical energy, unaware that above them lies a crust of ice and the silent stars beyond. Now we move to Titan, Saturn's largest moon, and one of the most fascinating places in the solar system. Bigger than the planet Mercury, Titan is shrouded in a thick golden atmosphere of nitrogen and methane. This blanket is so dense that standing on Titan would feel more like standing beneath a dim orange sky than on the surface of a moon. Through the haze, rivers and lakes are scattered across its surface, but they are not filled with water. Instead, they flow with liquid methane and ethane, hydrocarbons chilled by the bitter cold. Rain falls from Titan's clouds, carving channels and forming lakes, some as large as Earth's Great Lakes. Seasons shift here, too, as methane cycles through sky, land, and liquid, just as water cycles on Earth. Beneath Titan's frozen crust, scientists suspect another secret, a vast ocean of water, hidden deep below, perhaps salty and dynamic. If true, Titan would be a world with two oceans, one of methane above, one of water below. It is a place both familiar and alien, where landscapes resemble Earth's coasts, rivers, weather, yet are sculpted by entirely different chemistry. To walk along Titan's shorelines would be to stroll beside waves made of liquid gas, under clouds that rain not water, but methane. Enceladus and Titan remind us of something profound. Liquid, in all its forms, is the lifeblood of worlds. Whether it is water heated beneath ice or methane chilled beneath clouds, liquid means change. It means flow, erosion, chemistry, and perhaps even the spark of life. In the frozen reaches around Saturn, these two moons whisper to us that life's story may not be limited to Earth alone. As we drift farther outward, Saturn's golden light fades behind us, and the rings become a pale, shimmering thread. Ahead lies a tilted world, rolling through space on its side, its faint rings casting shadows in odd directions. Uranus, the sideways giant, is waiting. Uranus, a planet that refuses to spin like the others. While most worlds in the solar system turn upright, tilted only slightly, Uranus has rolled nearly onto its side. Its axis leans at an astonishing 98 degrees, so far over that it doesn't spin like a top it rolls, like a ball pushed gently along the floor of space. This tilt gives Uranus some of the strangest seasons in the solar system. Each pole spends 42 years in unbroken daylight, followed by 42 years in darkness. Imagine an entire lifetime lived in day and another in night, before the cycle begins again. From afar, Uranus appears as a calm, pale blue orb. Its color comes from methane in the atmosphere, which absorbs red light and reflects blue. To the eye, it looks serene, almost featureless, like a glass marble. But beneath that calm mask lies a world of extremes. Winds sweep across it at hundreds of kilometers per hour, and deep below, pressures may be crushing enough to turn carbon into diamonds. Some scientists believe that within Uranus and its neighbor Neptune, storms of diamond rain could fall through the atmosphere, glittering silently as they sink toward the core. And yes, Uranus has rings too, though they are faint and dark, nothing like Saturn's icy halo. They are narrow, tilted along with the planet, circling it vertically when viewed from the side. Discovered only in 1977, these rings remind us that Saturn is not alone in its artistry. Even here, at the edge of what the naked eye can see, the laws of gravity shape matter into delicate, ghostly bands. Uranus is a giant of gas and ice, smaller than Jupiter and Saturn, but still vast beyond imagining. Its interior is thought to be made of icy materials, water, ammonia, and methane mixed with rock, a world somewhere between a gas giant and a terrestrial planet. Its magnetic field is tilted too, off-center and skewed, wobbling strangely as the planet turns. Nothing about Uranus aligns neatly. It is a world that leans, tips, and spins, with its own quiet defiance. And around it circle moons 27, that we know of, many named after characters from Shakespeare. They are small, icy, and irregular, but each is a reminder that even tilted worlds gather companions. They follow Uranus in its sideways roll, tiny lanterns keeping pace with a wandering giant. To drift past Uranus is to feel a kind of stillness. The sun is faint here, the light a dim glow, and the seasons stretch longer than human memory. It is a planet that seems to turn in slow motion, a sideways traveler rolling endlessly along its path, its pale blue surface hiding storms, diamonds, and secrets in the dark. As we continue outward, we approach the farthest of the giants, a deep azure world with winds that outrun sound and a moon that moves against the current. Neptune waits at the edge of sunlight, restless and mysterious. Neptune, the farthest of the known giants, a deep blue lantern burning faintly at the edge of sunlight. From Earth it is so distant that even powerful telescopes see it only as a tiny disk. And yet, within that small circle, lies a world of fierce storms, invisible warmth, and mysteries that continue to surprise us. Despite receiving little light from the sun, Neptune is alive with motion. Its atmosphere, tinted azure by methane gas, is whipped by the fastest winds in the solar system. These winds howl at over 20 kilometers per hour, faster than the speed of sound on Earth. Imagine an invisible storm so swift it could circle the globe in less than a day. Clouds streak across Neptune's sky in shifting patterns, and massive storms, like the Great Dark Spot once seen by Voyager 2, come and go as if painted by passing shadows. Where does this energy come from, so far from the sun? Scientists believe Neptune generates much of it from within. Like Jupiter, it radiates more heat than it receives, releasing the residual energy of its own formation. Deep inside, gravity still squeezes its vast mass, producing warmth that stirs the atmosphere above. From afar, it may look like a frozen giant, but Neptune is restless, warmed from within, its surface winds driven by an inner fire. Neptune also carries a story unlike any other planet. It was discovered not by sight, but by mathematics. In the early 1800s, astronomers noticed that Uranus's orbit was slightly off, pulled by something unseen. Two mathematicians, working independently, calculated the position of the hidden planet. When telescopes turned to the predicted point in the sky, Neptune was there. It was the first planet discovered on paper, before it was seen through glass, a triumph of reason, numbers, and human curiosity. And then there are its moons, at least 14 known. The most remarkable is Triton, moving in a direction opposite to Neptune's rotation, a retrograde orbit. This suggests Triton was not born here, but captured, likely from the Kuiper Belt, that distant realm of icy bodies beyond Neptune. Triton is geologically active, with cryovolcanoes that spew icy material into space. Its thin atmosphere thickens and thins with the seasons, breathing in rhythm with its orbit. To circle Neptune against the current is to live as a rebel, a reminder that not every body follows the same dance. Neptune is also suspected to be a world of diamonds. Deep within its crushing atmosphere, carbon atoms may compress into crystals, falling as diamond rain through layers of gas and ice. It is a vision both strange and beautiful. Storms glittering with jewels that drift into darkness, unseen by any eye. At the edge of our sun's light, Neptune feels like both a boundary and a gateway. It marks the end of the classical planets, but not the end of the solar system. Beyond it lie frozen relics, dwarf planets, and a vast cloud of icy wanderers. Neptune is a reminder that even at the farthest reaches, energy stirs, winds roar, and captured moons dance in defiance. As we drift past this azure world, the sun now, a dim star behind us, we cross into a region where worlds grow small and icy. Here, on the outskirts, Pluto and its kin keep watch tiny planets, bright and cold, whispering of the solar system's earliest days. Beyond Neptune lies a realm that feels more like a memory than a neighborhood. Here, the planets give way to icy wanderers, small worlds left behind from the solar system's birth. The most famous among them is Pluto, once hailed as the 9th planet, now reclassified as a dwarf planet. But though its status has shifted, its wonder has not dimmed. Pluto is tiny compared to the giants, a world just 400 kilometers wide, smaller than Earth's moon. And yet, when the New Horizons spacecraft flew past in 2015, it revealed a landscape as complex and haunting as any larger planet. At its heart lies Sputnik Planitia, a vast, bright, heart-shaped plain of frozen nitrogen. This icy heart is not just poetic. It may be the surface expression of a vast ocean beneath. Though Pluto lies far from the sun, radioactive heat from within may keep water liquid below the crust. Imagine an ocean sealed in silence, warmed from below, hidden for billions of years beneath a shell of frost. Pluto is not alone. Its companion, Charon, is nearly half its size, making the pair more a binary system than a planet and moon. Charon's surface is scarred with chasms and cliffs, one canyon stretching deeper than the Grand Canyon on Earth. Together, Pluto and Charon orbit a shared point in space, locked in a slow dance where neither truly dominates. The atmosphere of Pluto is fragile and fleeting. Composed mostly of nitrogen, with traces of methane and carbon monoxide, it forms a hazy, bluish halo when sunlight passes through. But it does not last. As Pluto drifts farther from the sun in its elongated orbit, the gases collapse back onto the surface, freezing into frost. Then, centuries later, as it returns closer, the atmosphere breathes out once again. Pluto inhales and exhales with the rhythm of its 248-year journey around the Sunday. And Pluto is only one of many. In the Kuiper Belt, a vast ring of icy bodies beyond Neptune, other dwarf planets reside. Eris, Haumea, make worlds with their own secrets. Some are round, some elongated, some with mirrored icy surfaces so reflective they shine like snow. This region is a cosmic attic, filled with ancient objects that never grew into full planets, fragments of the solar system's first days. The Kuiper Belt itself may stretch billions of kilometers, a frozen archive of creation. These icy worlds remind us that planets are not the only storytellers. Even small, distant bodies can carry oceans, atmospheres, and mysteries of their own. Farther still, beyond even the Kuiper Belt, lies the shadowy Oort cloud, a hypothetical sphere of icy comets that may extend nearly a light-year away. If it exists, it marks the true edge of the Sun's domain, where its gravity still whispers faintly but no longer holds sway. From there, long-period comets occasionally fall inward, blazing across our skies before retreating again into darkness for millennia. Out here, past Pluto, past the Kuiper Belt, past the invisible shell of the Oort cloud, lies interstellar space, a place where the sun is just another star, a place where our solar system ends and the galaxy begins. But before we drift beyond, let us pause and look back. The sun glimmers faintly behind us, holding together everything we have seen: planets of fire and ice, moons with oceans and storms, rings of shimmering ice, and countless small worlds keeping their long, silent watch. As we linger at the edges of our solar system, it is worth remembering what holds it all together: the Sunday. Though now it shines behind us like a distant star, its light and warmth are the thread running through every world we have visited. Without it, there would be no winds on Neptune, no seasons on Mars, no shimmering rings around Saturn. Even here, billions of kilometers away, its gravity still pulls, its light still touches. The sun is not a steady lamp, but a living, breathing star. Every second, more than 4 million tons of its mass vanish, transformed into energy through nuclear fusion. Deep in its core, hydrogen atoms fuse into helium, releasing heat and light that journey outward, bouncing for hundreds of thousands of years before finally escaping into space. Once free, the photons cross the void, reaching Earth in just over 8 minutes, painting dawn skies and warming our oceans. Yet the sun holds mysteries too. Its surface, the photosphere, burns at about 5/500 Resnel, but strangely, its outer atmosphere, the corona, is millions of degrees hotter. The reason is still not fully understood. Some scientists believe magnetic waves rising from the interior carry hidden energy upward. Others think countless tiny flares, called nanoflares, may unleash bursts of heat too small to see but powerful in their sum. Whatever the cause, the sun's edges blaze hotter than its face, a paradox of fire in the sky. It also sings, though we cannot hear it. Pressure waves ripple through its body, setting it to vibrate like a colossal instrument. These vibrations are too low for human ears, but with careful instruments, scientists study their patterns through a field called helioseismology. Like listening to echoes in a cavern, the ripples reveal the sun's inner structure, its layers, flows, and hidden currents. In a way, the sun is always humming, its rhythm steady and patient, carrying secrets in vibrations that cross its blazing skin. The sun is also magnetic. Every 11 years, its magnetic field flips, the north and south poles trading places. This cycle fuels the rise and fall of sunspots, solar flares, and coronal mass ejections, bursts of plasma that can stream across space, stirring auroras on Earth's poles, and, at times, disrupting satellites and power grids. The sun does not simply shine, it pulses, breathes, and storms. It is alive in ways both beautiful and dangerous. And one day, far in the future, its story will change. When its hydrogen fuel runs low, the sun will swell into a red giant, engulfing Mercury and Venus, perhaps even Earth. Its outer layers will drift away into space, forming a glowing planetary nebula, while its core shrinks into a white dwarf, a dense ember, cooling slowly over trillions of years. It will no longer blaze, but it will not vanish. Even in death it will linger as a quiet star, a memory of the brilliant sun that once lit our skies. For now, though, the sun continues to burn steadily, holding us close, feeding every current of wind and every flicker of life on Earth. From the smallest atom in its core to the grand sweep of planets in orbit, it is the heart of the solar system, and the quiet fire we carry with us wherever we drift. Ahead, as we move outward again, lies the vastness beyond the interstellar gulf where the voyagers wander, carrying whispers of Earth into the silence. Out beyond Pluto's frozen orbit, past the Kuiper Belt, 2 small spacecraft continue their lonely journey. Voyager 1 and Voyager 2, launched in the late 1970s, have traveled farther than any human-made object in history. They are our messengers to the stars, drifting through the vast dark on a path toward eternity. Each Voyager carries instruments that, even after decades, still whisper back to Earth. Their signals are faint now, taking more than 20 hours to cross the gulf of space, but they arrive tiny pulses of information about magnetic fields, cosmic rays, and the faint density of the interstellar medium. Long after their cameras were shut down, they continue to measure, to sense, to reach outward. They are explorers that will never return, slipping further away with every heartbeat of the Sunday. On their sides is a gift, the golden record, a phonograph disc of copper, plated in gold, sealed inside an aluminum cover. It contains the sounds of earth waves breaking on a shore, birds singing at dawn, a mother greeting her child. It carries greetings spoken in dozens of languages, from ancient dialects to modern voices. It carries music, Bach, Beethoven, blind singers from Senegal, Navajo chants, and Chuck Berry's rock and roll. It even carries images, photographs etched in simple code, showing trees, mountains, laughter, mathematics, the anatomy of a human hand. It is a message in a bottle cast into the galaxy, not meant to find anyone soon, but to drift, waiting. Perhaps one day, far from now, another intelligence will stumble upon it. They may never understand every word, but they will know this, that here, once, was a world alive with oceans and music, a world that looked at the stars and dreamed of reaching them. Voyager 1 has already crossed the heliopause, the boundary where the sun's wind yields to the pressure of interstellar space. Voyager 2 followed a few years later. Beyond this invisible frontier, the particles of distant stars mingle with our own, and the sun becomes just one star among many. The Voyagers are now interstellar travelers, ambassadors of humanity wandering through the dark between suns. They will continue for millions, even billions of years, long after Earth's mountains have eroded and its continents shifted. Their golden records may outlast every trace of our species on this planet. In them, we placed not just data, but hope, the hope that the universe is listening. As we drift with them in imagination, the silence deepens. Stars shine brighter here, without the sun's glare. Behind us, our solar system is a faint lantern, and ahead stretches the immeasurable. The edge of home is behind us now, and the ocean of the galaxy lies before us. But before we lose sight of home entirely, let us turn back for a moment to Earth, the small blue dot where all our stories begin. Earth, the pale blue dot. From billions of kilometers away, it is no more than a speck of light, delicate, almost forgettable against the dark ocean of stars. And yet, within that tiny glow lies everything we know, every forest and river, every laugh and tear, every life ever lived. It is the only world we have found where oceans roll freely, under open skies. Here, water flows in all three states, ice, liquid, and vapor cycling endlessly between sea, cloud, and rain. This balance, so ordinary to us, is extraordinary in the cosmos. No other planet shows this delicate global dance. It is water that sculpts our valleys, lifts our weather, and cradles the life that breathes and grows across continents. Earth is also unique for its restless crust. Its surface is divided into plates that drift slowly, colliding, pulling apart, sliding under one another. This process, plate tectonics, builds mountains, opens oceans, and recycles carbon dioxide, stabilizing the climate across eons. Without it, the Earth might be stagnant, lifeless, a quiet rock adrift. Instead, it is dynamic, alive with the slow rhythm of geology. Around Earth spins the Moon, unusually large for a satellite. Born from a colossal impact in the planet's youth, the Moon has shaped Earth's destiny ever since. Its gravity pulls at our oceans, raising tides that ebb and flow each day. Over time, it has slowed Earth's rotation, lengthening our days. And in the night sky, it has offered light and wonder, inspiring myths, calendars, and poetry across civilizations. Footprints left on its surface half a century ago still rest there, undisturbed, a reminder of how far human curiosity has already reached. Earth also carries a shield, invisible but essential, its magnetic field. Generated by the molten iron churning in its outer core, it wraps the planet in a protective bubble, deflecting solar wind and cosmic rays. Without it, the atmosphere might have been stripped away long ago, as happened on Mars. Instead, the magnetosphere shields us, and in doing so, it creates beauty, the auroras. At the poles, Charged particles stream along magnetic lines and collide with the upper atmosphere, painting the skies in curtains of green, violet, and red light. These shimmering displays are Earth's reminder that even invisible forces can create wonder. And yet, perhaps Earth's most remarkable feature is not its geology or shields, but its life. From deep-sea vents to mountaintops, from deserts to forests, from microbes to minds capable of pondering the stars, life thrives here in dazzling variety. It is the only place we know where matter has learned to feel, to think, to dream. Looking back at Earth from the distance of space is humbling. Carl Sagan once called it a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam. All the wars and triumphs, the monuments and the forgotten names, all of it rests on this fragile world, small enough to vanish behind your thumb held at arm's length. And yet, from that tiny dot, we have looked outward. We have built telescopes to read the light of distant galaxies, sent spacecraft across the solar system, imagined journeys to worlds beyond. The Earth is not just our home, it is our launch point, our teacher, and our reminder of what is precious. As we close our journey through the solar system, we return here, to this shimmering blue marble. For all the wonders beyond, this is where we live. This is where our breath rises, where our stories begin, and where our dreams of the stars first take flight. As we drift closer to Earth again, our long spiral through the solar system begins to feel like a dream, a story of fire, ice, storms, and silence. And yet, each world we visited left behind a trace, a sleepy fact to rest upon, like stepping stones across a cosmic river. We remember Mercury, scorched by day and frozen by night, with a ghostly exosphere instead of an atmosphere. We remember Venus, a world of thick clouds and crushing heat, spinning backward in its lonely rhythm. Mars, with its canyons and volcanoes, dust storms and seasons, showed us a world that is both alien and strangely familiar. We floated past Jupiter, its great red spot swirling for centuries, and listened to the stories of its moons, Io's fire, Europa's ocean, Ganymede's magnetic glow, Callisto's ancient scars. Then came Saturn, luminous with rings like glass, fragile and fleeting, yet breathtaking beyond words. Its moons enchanted us too, Enceladus whispering water into space, Titan cradling lakes of methane under a golden haze. We rolled with Uranus, the sideways planet, serene and pale, its faint rings tilted into the night. Then Neptune, fierce and restless, with winds faster than sound and Triton orbiting against the current, a captured wanderer dancing out of step. Beyond them, we touched Pluto and the icy kin of the Kuiper belt, small but full of mystery, guardians of the solar system's edge. And through it all, the sun held us together, singing with vibrations, pulsing with storms, burning itself into light so we might exist. Even as it ages, it will remain our anchor for billions of years more, before one day glowing softly, as a white dwarf, in the silence of tomorrow. Our journey also followed the Voyagers, two small machines carrying golden records into the abyss, each a quiet messenger of Earth's voice. They remind us that even fragile creations can endure, sailing into eternity long after our time has passed. And finally, we return to Earth, the pale blue dot, unique, vibrant, alive. The only place we know where oceans move, where continents breathe, where life dreams and wonders about the cosmos. From this single speck of light, we have mapped the stars and traced the paths of distant worlds. We are not only passengers of the solar system, we are storytellers of it. Now, as the story softens, let your thoughts drift with these images. Planets spinning, moons gliding, rings shimmering, oceans hidden under ice. The universe moves slowly, patiently, like a lullaby whispered through gravity and time. You are a part of this story, resting on one small world, held in the arms of a star. Close your eyes, if you haven't already. Breathe in gently, and let the last glow of starlight settle into your mind. Tomorrow, the planets will still be there, circling in their ancient orbits. But tonight, you've traveled with them, far beyond the familiar sky. Thank you for joining this journey. If these quiet explorations have brought you peace, consider subscribing so that next time, when sleep is slow to come, you'll have another cosmic story waiting for you. For now, rest. The solar system will keep turning, the stars will keep shining, and the night will hold you gently until morning. Good night. And so, our journey comes to its gentle close. We began in the warmth of the sun, drifting outward step by step, tracing each orbit, each moon, each silent marvel. From searing heat to frozen shadows, from diamond rains to methane seas, we wandered slowly, as though carried on a tide of starlight. Each world gave us a story, not in haste, but in whispers meant for evenings like this, whispers that soften the heart and quiet the mind. The truth is, the solar system is both vast and delicate. Its distances are measured in millions, even billions of kilometers, and yet its wonders feel close, intimate, when told one by one. A canyon deeper than anything on Earth, a geyser spraying into space from a tiny moon, rings so thin they could disappear if turned on edge, oceans hidden where no sunlight reaches. These are not just facts, but lullabies of creation, reminders that the universe is a patient artist, painting across billions of years. And as you rest here, listening, you are part of that same canvas. The atoms in your body were forged long ago in the hearts of stars, scattered across space, gathered again into the shape that is you. You are not separate from the solar system. You are one of its children, born from its light, nourished by its warmth, and destined to return to its dust one day. To know this is not to feel small, it is to feel connected. If your eyelids are heavy now, that is just as it should be. Let the images drift. Neptune's winds, Saturn's rings, Europa's frozen shell, Earth's glowing seas. They will wait for you, circling still, timeless companions in the quiet night. There will always be more stories to tell, more mysteries to unwrap, more wonders to turn gently in the mind. But not tonight. Tonight is for rest. So breathe slowly. Let the rhythm of your breath match the rhythm of the planets turning. Let the weight of the day dissolve, the thoughts untangle, and the quiet find you. The universe will hold your place while you sleep. Thank you, truly, for being here, for traveling so far, and for listening so gently. If these stories bring you calm, you are welcome to return, to subscribe, to wander with us again. Each night, another path through the stars, another journey meant for peace. For now, let go, drift softly. The solar system will keep spinning, the stars will keep burning, and your dreams will carry you where science and wonder meet. Good night, traveler. Sleep well, dream sweetly, and may the cosmos cradle you until morning light.